Hi, welcome to our channel. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Hugo.
We're Sell Quick, Ship Quick, part-time resellers.
Full-time hustlers.
And today is not a typical What Sold Monday.
No, on the contrary, we're not going to do what's sold. Rather, we're going to do...
returns.
The ugly truth of reselling.
And like our friends over at Pure Hustle Podcast, we wanted to keep it real, relevant, and reselling. So, returns.
Yeah, it's the ugly truth of reselling. Everyone has conflicts about it, whether you offer it or not, free or charged.
Whatever. But it happens. And it's up to you and your business policy how you want to offer or don't offer returns. And it's just a choice that you make. And there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
There's just a preference.
It's what works for you. Everyone's business is different.
So we choose to offer free returns. We do not do free shipping. We do charge shipping. But the reason we do charge shipping versus free ship, so we charge shipping and offer
free returns
so that we don't have to return the shipping fee.
Shipping costs, yeah.
Yes, if the item gets returned to us. Mm-hmm. And why we offer free returns. There's a few things. So one, if a buyer opens an INAD, which is item not as described, you will be forced to take the return. Even if it was actually perfectly described.
Yeah, so what happens is if you don't offer any returns, say you have this beautiful top size medium, you offer no returns on it, you sell it. Then you get a case open, and because you don't offer returns period, the buyer can push and force a return on you, saying that this item is not as described because it's actually some other size. Say it's a size large. And then no matter what, even with pictures involved, if you request pictures, eBay can say, accept the return. Once you get it, you can analyze it and continue to push your case forward if it was a false item not described, not respond.
Also, if you include a ruler or a measuring tape in your photo of the measurements, and I know that a lot of people do that where they put like the big yardstick in the picture so that there's less of a chance of a possible item not as described because the measurement's on there. I've seen cases with other sellers where they get an item not as described even though the yardstick was in the picture and showed the measurement. The buyer was still able to say, well, they didn't stretch out the garment completely, or they pinched it at a location and that's why the item wasn't actually the measurement that was shown in the photo. Mm-hmm. And as the seller, you're still forced to take it, even though you don't offer returns, because they clicked the item not as described.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you could possibly still have a chance to fight it and whatnot, but the reality is, if you offer free returns or even buyer paid returns, you'll have more protection from eBay, and the buyer will have options for why they're returning the item, and those options are very important.
So we offer free returns for the main reason that eBay will cover us, or eBay will protect us against a buyer who abuses the return system. If we get a nasty buyer, which we haven't had in the past, we've had a buyer get really aggressive through comments and threaten negative feedback if we don't do a full refund, and just nastiness that's not necessary. And we recently had a return case open where our item that was Neewer tags came back with the tag cut off, and the pant leg was filled with what looked like animal hair, human hair, and dust. And it was like down the entire leg. Well, that is no longer a Neewer tags item because they cut the tag and then it was filled with gunk.
Yeah.
So we didn't give back the entire refund, and the buyer was pretty nasty about it and threatened negative feedback.
Yeah, and now this option to decide how much to refund the buyer based off an incident like we just had, I'm not sure if it's offered if you offer buyer paid returned, but it's definitely offered if you do free returns. So with free returns, you get to actually decide if something's wrong with the return, and in our case, not give them the full refund.
So with that said, we choose free returns because of eBay seller protection. And the second reason is you're kind of forced to give a return anyway if the buyer opens an INAD case.
Yeah, so
and then you're not protected if you didn't offer the free returns in that INAD case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so in other words, might as well offer it
to be protected.
To be protected, because either way, if a buyer really wants to, they can actually push for it. And this is not to scare sellers.
Because we also got a return on Poshmark.
Yeah.
And it was like
really hard to get a return on Poshmark.
Yeah.
But it happens. But no, and what I was trying to say is it's not to scare you off of selling. Returns happen, but the reality is they're not that common. And going with that, we actually offered no returns a while ago. Then we offered buyer paid returns. And then we turned to full on free returns.
There's not a big jump in
the returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anything, the way we look at it is our return rate is how much we got to return.
Okay, so we did the math, and in the last 90 days, because eBay only shows you your information for the last 90 days, we have sold 508 items, and of the 508, we had 35 closed returns, or sorry, 32 closed returns with 3 currently open from this past week. With that being said, the percentage is a 7% return rate, which is about the same as when we did not offer returns.
Yeah, so it didn't raise our returns. Like, our return rate has not really changed. Sometimes it does feel like we're getting more return, but if you think about it, if our return rate stays at about 7%, and that's 7% also because of clothing.
Yes.
A majority of our returns is clothing, and it's because it doesn't fit. And doesn't fit doesn't count as a negative ding or anything towards you. It just says doesn't fit, so it's okay. But 7% when we were selling 200 items, 7% when we were selling 500 items, and then 7% now that we have over 1,000, it's still 7%. We have more returns because 7% of 1,000 is a lot more than 200. Yes?
Sure. So, our returns. Different things that we've had returned in the last 90 days, starting with our oldest one. Louis Vuitton uniform, long sleeve, crew neck, chevron sweater that was brand new. The person ordered it and didn't like the item, and that was their reason. They said that the material was itchy. Okay.
Out of our hands.
Yep. So we refunded them $42, and then that item turned around and sold on Poshmark in a bundle.
Yeah, so that was nice, and it sold within the week or two.
So we still made a profit on that. Next up, we have a Eileen Fisher long sleeve bateau, which is the boat neck, merino wool sweater. This one did not fit the buyer and refunded $35. And for some reason, I think we sold this one later. I don't remember. It sounds familiar.
It sounds familiar.
All right. This next thing is Intimately Free People sleeveless lace boho top in purple. This one, they said that it arrived damaged. So there was a case that was open. We refunded the buyer $15. I believe this one was the one that had a lot of lace, and it was like the hem had
layers of lace.
Layers of lace, and I think that second layer had a torn bit in it that we missed because it was an oversized top. The lace kind of like interweaved.
Yeah, and it was very busy. Like, that lace was hard to look at without.
Yeah, so when the return opened, we apologized to our buyer. We did not get negative feedback from that buyer. We were proactive in apologizing for our mistake. I think we offered like maybe another item in our store if they found something.
Yeah, when we know we're at fault, we like to send out a message and we keep things positive. We tell them, you know what, sorry for the mistake or sorry for the issue. We go on with the process of the return, and then we also let them know if there's anything else in our store. They're welcome to send us an offer, and we'll try to give them a good deal.
All right, next up, we have this Curran Elliott short sleeve embroidered frayed hem shirt. This one did not fit the buyer. We refunded them $25.88. I think this was the first Curran Elliott shirt that we ever found. Because we normally just find the bottoms.
Yeah, pants and stuff.
All right, Vince, cigarette skinny dark wash jeans. Didn't like the item.
Yeah. There's nothing we can do about that. But what we can do is, and that's why we appreciate the free returns. We don't have to worry that because somebody doesn't like it that they're gonna go through and push a case on us. Just the basic, I didn't like it, return it.
All right, Johnny this was our fault. I think. This one was a zip up sweater and we refunded this person $96 because it was a like tunic zip up sweater that was fully embroidered.
Yeah, it's very busy. As Johnny is.
Well, they said that there was like a red stain on the front of the sweater.
Yeah, it kind of almost looked like a bleach stain after a bit.
But when we looked at our photos, it wasn't very clear if there was anything there. And when we received the item, the red stain somehow like grew on the sweater.
Yeah.
Which we couldn't prove because our pictures, the area where it was.
It just folded just perfectly in our images where it would have been.
So yes, we refunded this person $96, which was the full price that they paid. However, the sweater cost us, I believe it was like a $5 sweater, and with fees, with everything, we lost like $10 on this.
Yeah, and that's on the higher end there. And again, for us, we're in the process of moving forward in our business. Losing $10 is worth it if it means we keep our positive feedback, keep our good attitude, and keep pushing, keep working.
All right, Vince. Oops. Vince leather panel long sleeve. So this Vince, it was a wool long sleeve, but a leather front panel. And the buyer said that this item arrived damaged because they claimed that there was a run through the sleeve, which we couldn't see in our photos.
Yeah, we couldn't prove if it was already there or if it was visible prior.
So we refunded the buyer $38.38. They said there was a run in it. If we get a return case open, we will normally have them send it back to us. However, depending on the cost of the item, in this case, they claim that this item was damaged. The item cost us $3.
Shipping would have cost us an additional $3 to $4.
We let the buyer keep the item.
Yeah, because what that means for us is we don't have to pay that return shipping. The buyer paid the initial shipping to them, so we're losing really just the cost of goods plus a couple of fees.
Yeah, and this way we don't risk paying an additional shipping charge or shipping fee on an item that may or may not arrive actually damaged, and then we can't sell it anyway. So, all right, next up we have these frame denim skinny dark wash jeans. It did not fit the buyer, so we refunded them $30.88. Next up we have a Diane Von
Frankenstein
green shirt, green blouse. They didn't like the item, and I remember this one. Do you remember this one?
Is this the one that didn't like the cut or wasn't flattering?
The item was wrinkled because it was a silk blouse. A silk blouse.
There you go, I remember it. They put on the note, arrived very wrinkled.
Okay, so it's a silk blouse that has been folded and put into a bag and sent.
And then went through,
shipping and the weathers and, time and space and all that.
Quantums. I don't know, things go through quantums.
Quantums? So, I mean, it could have been an easy hey, you should steam your item after you receive it because it's been folded, but that's fine. This one we did receive back because we figure we would be able to resell the Diane von Furstenberg silk blouse. Next up we have a Eileen Fisher extra large silk button front sleeveless dress. This one did not fit the buyer. We refunded them $41. And today we got an offer on it. So.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
All right, next up.
Yeah, Madewell size, what is that? 26 skinny, I'm blind. Skinny ankle high rise dark wash jeans. And didn't fit.
Nope.
Didn't fit. So we refunded them $20. And again, we refunded them and then we did get these jeans back, huh?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So we paid the shipping back. But another thing we forgot to note is when we repost things back up for selling, we keep that in mind and add that to our cost of good.
Yeah, so if we're getting something back and say we were initially marked at $20, when we get it back and we relist it, we'll, depending on the item, we might tack on an additional $5 to make up for the fees that were lost in the return process. All right, next up we have Anthropologie Cloth and Stone extra small long sleeve plaid pullover blue dress because they didn't like it and they claimed that the fabric, and also our photos, we include the photo of the label tag and we also include a photo of the garment care instruction along with the material content so that the buyer can see, do they want to deal with an item that's only dry clean? Do they want to deal with an item that is cotton, cashmere, wool, polyester? They're allergic to polyester, they don't want to wear it.
Polyester, they only want organic, whatever they want, they can see it.
Yeah, so this buyer said that they didn't like the fabric, that the fabric was a lot thinner than they expected it. So we refunded them $21.88. Next up we have Burton snowboard pants. Didn't like the item.
Yeah, they didn't like it. They didn't know exactly what was in. They were in for. They didn't realize that these were just plain snowboard pants, and they thought they were gonna have other parts to it. And it's like, it's in the picture.
I don't know if they thought it was gonna come with a snowboard.
Yeah.
But we refunded them $30, and today we received an offer on Poshmark.
Yeah.
For these Burton snow pants. Next up, we have a Torrid ruffle front sleeveless butterfly print blouse. They did not like the item. We refunded them $14, and I think we sold this.
Yeah, we got it back and sold it fairly quick.
Within like a day.
I think it sold on Posh.
Yeah. All right. Clothing.
Benefits of multi-platforms.
Yes. So as you can see, some of our returns on here ended up selling on Poshmark. Conspiracy. Clothing arts was an item that we were really excited about. They were the travel pants. Unfortunately, the buyer did not fit. This did not fit the buyer.
Yeah.
And we had to refund approximately $53 for these pants. These have been relisted and hopefully they sell because these are really good pants. And whatever we sell them for, we're still gonna make money.
Yeah.
Because of the high listing that we can put on this. Next up, we have
this robot Knights of
Sidonia. It's an anime character, like an anime.
Yes, there you go. It's some kind of anime robot figure.
It looks like Legos, but anime Legos.
Yeah, but it's not a toy. It's a figure. It's not a toy. It's something you keep. It's for.
This is like the difference between a doll and what is it? Oh, action figure. It's an action figure. It's a doll.
But this one got returned because it arrived damaged. Now, I packed it up real well, but the buyer also noted that the box looked like it had been crushed slightly during shipping. Because, you know, you can see the box was wrinkled. So they returned it, we gave them the refund, and...
Also, they had started to build this thing.
Yeah, so it was really hard to judge, and then we talked to eBay slightly about it, and they were on the fence, so instead of losing sleep over it, we just took care of the return.
Yeah, because there's no way to prove that we damaged the item, or if in the middle of building it, they damaged the item. And then we have a Ted Baker short sleeve crop top floral paisley top. This one was refunded $30. It did not fit the buyer. And then did we resell this one? The crop top Ted Baker?
I think we did on Posh.
All right, we have a Cuisinart replacement part.
Yeah.
They ordered it by mistake.
Yep. So for whatever reason, they didn't mean to order it. But these parts are so low cost for us because we do buy the whole item and then part it out and whatnot, that it was just not worth us paying for that return shipment. So let them have it.
All right, Wrangler. This was a new dress. It was a floral embroidered bell sleeve shift dress, which we did not even know Wrangler made dresses. This one did not fit the buyer. It did get returned to us with the tag still intact, so the buyer did not rent our item. We refunded them $34. And then next up we have a Maeve 3/4 sleeve tribal print dress. This is a shift dress. Didn't fit the buyer.
Yeah.
A lot of doesn't fits.
Yeah. And I think actually for the next few ones, don't fit.
Yes. So, and also a lot of these returns were in our what sold videos, which we think is like a weird
conspiracy.
Because whenever we talk about an item that just sold,
there's a higher chance something's gonna come back.
All right, we talked about these J. Crew Reed straight skinny jeans that we were excited about selling because we didn't typically pick up J. Crew jeans, and these were given to us free.
So we're more excited.
So when it got returned, we just told the buyer to keep it and pass it on to someone else.
Yeah, again, cost wasn't there for us.
All right, we got these Reigning Champ Tiger Fleece pants, which we had actually posted in our IG, and we talked about it in a what sold because this was a bolo. Reigning Champ, we found these really thick sweatpants, super excited about it. It sold fairly quickly, and we have 30-day returns. Well, this buyer opened up a case on the 28th day, so they rented our pants.
Yeah, I'm running on they rented it. Now this one was a whole fiasco.
So it was, so you have as a buyer, if you open a return case, you have 5 days to send it.
Yeah, I forget exactly how many days, but you automatically get a return label generated because we offer free returns.
Well, the buyer did not take a proactive stance in returning the item.
Well, actually, the first thing that happened there was a glitch with eBay and the buyer couldn't get a return label. So the return label didn't print for them. So what that means is they had to contact eBay to contact us so that we are then required to provide a label for them. It's annoying, but it happens during returns. Again, just keep moving. But this buyer didn't, like I said, wasn't proactive. So they didn't do this until like the last days of the final days to ship it back. And then in that time, eBay was supposed to send us a notice, but we didn't get it. And then next thing you know, behind the backgrounds, we had the case closed against us. So, closed against us, right?
Which means that we ended up refunding this buyer the $60. Refunded them $60, but we never received the item because they never sent it out. So, benefit to going to eBay Open is you get eBay Concierge, which means you call a number for eBay, you get an immediate response from a person and not a machine. And a human body answers the phone. And they are very helpful. They look over your case the second you call. And we were able to get our case reviewed, looked at, and refunded back to us the amount that was refunded back to the buyer.
Yeah, and when I called, I normally do the calls for that, and very calm. Even though it was upsetting that we had a forced refund and all that stuff, calm very calmly, because the person on the other line, they didn't do anything wrong. They were just answering the phone. They happened to be the person to take our call. So I explained what happened, told them that this buyer waited till the last moment to return it, had issues with the return label, and we never got notice that we needed to provide a label. They went through, verified everything we said because it was true, and said, you know what, obviously this is an issue and something went wrong, we got you. They reversed everything.
Yep. All right, next few returns that we got for does not fit. A Calypso St. Bart cashmere v-neck pullover sweater, refunded the buyer $44.89. Then we have an Anthropologie Postmark extra small cowl neck sweater. Did not fit the buyer. They sent us a message and said they love the sweater, super cute. Unfortunately, it was too big on them. Measurements were provided. So this goes back to what we said in the beginning. Measurements were provided. It did show that this cowl neck sweater was an oversized extra small. And we did get this item returned back to us. So, yeah.
Which is fine. Again, part of the process.
Next up, we also talk about swimsuits not being a seasonal thing. You can list it year round. In this case, we sold a Victoria's Secret cutout, a sexy black string halter cutout one-piece swimsuit.
Oh my. It didn't fit me, so we didn't keep it. It was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing. But it didn't fit the buyer, so it got returned to us. This was a bins find. You know, we probably should have just let them keep it, but it's back. It's gonna get relisted.
Yeah, and you know, before we know it, full on
summer
is gonna be here, and chances of selling will be a little higher.
All right, Lafayette 148 silk blouse. This one did not fit the buyer, and this one I think they received it, and within a day of receiving the item, they sent it back to us. So It was like 4 days of transactions.
Yeah. Real quick return, and we don't mind. Again, quick. We'd rather they return it quick.
All right, next up.
And then we have this DeLonghi, right?
You're the coffee part seller.
I don't know. I don't say these things out loud, but this coffee part, and it didn't fit, so they ordered the wrong coffee part. Again, same thing. Not worth our money or time to have them send it back and wait for all that. So we just refund them and send a message. Please do not ship it back. Keep it, toss it, enjoy.
Yeah. All right, Erin Crafts. This is a 100% merino wool cable knit asymmetrical sweater. Unfortunately, this was too large on the buyer. Measurements were included, but like most people, I don't think a lot of people know how to take their measurements, because I sure do not know how sometimes for myself. And I have to look up, you know, how to check my sizing. So I think the sweater was too big for a small. And so we did get this one back because of the price point that we can relist it at, and we'll still be able to make money on the item.
Yeah, it's definitely there. Because again, when we relist these items, we're gonna charge shipping again to the next buyer.
All right, next up we have a Bailey 44 lace trim velvet top, which was in a what sold video. This did not fit the buyer, and we ended up taking this return back because I think the buyer opened it and printed out the return label before we could even tell them to just keep it.
Yeah, it was a very efficient buyer.
Next up we have Hudson Byron straight leg jeans distressed dark wash. This is the issue with the new tags one.
The whole return and offering.
Last two that are closed returns. We have a St. John. This was like a St. John seasonal asymmetric tunic top. Never seen anything like this. It's like too short on one side to be a dress, but long enough on the other to be a dress. But then it like went this way. So then like the dress, the middle would be like where your crotch is, like here. Or I don't know. So I called it a tunic top because it was like not a dress, not yet a shirt.
Okay, Brittany.
All right, last one. We have a BCBG Max Azria Sven sleeveless sheer black dress. It was apparently too big for an extra small.
Yeah, extra small was still too big for this buyer.
So we got this dress back because it is a very nice dress and can be resold. All right, so those are our closed returns, and we currently have 3 returns open this week. All 3 of which were in our last what sold video. We have an RM Williams, the Bush, what did you call it? The Brush?
The Brush.
The Brush Outfitter. This one is the new button front shirt. The buyer bought this for her husband for Christmas. Unfortunately, it was too short for him. So we took it back.
We're waiting on it.
Yeah, we're waiting for it. And then we should be refunding this buyer $50. Next up, we have a Lucky Brand. This looks like a vintage Lucky Brand. It's a hoodie with patchwork all over it. This one, the reason was they changed their mind.
And that's a reason.
$29.88. And last but not least, a Rag & Bone standard issue fit slim leg men's dark wash jeans. So these did not fit the buyer. We're gonna refund them $50. We thought these jeans were men's jeans because when I looked up standard issue fit from Rag & Bone, it gave me men's jeans.
And now this is gonna be a special situation in which we'll actually refund the buyer their shipping as well.
Because the buyer
made me laugh.
Yes. So they sent us a message and they said they've had plenty of Rag & Bone standard issue jeans in the past in a size 30. And to say that these jeans are skin tight is an understatement. So
that was funny enough to me for me to say, you get your shipping back.
Yeah. So those were our 35 returns in the last 90 days. So average of 12 returns a month. And that's like 3 returns a week. So less than 1 return a day.
I'm game with that. Especially because, again, that return rate percentage is based off what we're selling. And especially we got into Q4. Literally the last 90 days is Q4. It's the most, it's when sales
wonderful time of the year.
Oh, it really is. But definitely sales there's more sales, which means possibilities of returns are higher.
So don't be afraid of returns. They happen. It's a cost of doing business. And when you get a return, I mean, a lot of people, if you are a bin shopper, well, then don't look at the full amount that you're refunding, but maybe just the amount that you paid for, which is probably like $1 or $2.
Yeah, so if you have an item you got for $1, it's sold for $40.
You didn't lose $40.
No.
So don't think of it like a $40 loss.
No, depends on your shipping policy. You might have just lost about $3.
Yeah. So returns happen. At the end of the day, you can just relist it. And some of these items have resold or will resell. And yeah, you can choose between buyer paid returns, free returns, no returns. Yeah. I mean, it's all up to you and your business policy. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
But I'm curious, what is your return policy?
Do you offer them? Do you want to offer them? Do you
have concerns? Let us know in the comments. And also, you could always reach out to us through DMs and on Instagram.
Yes.
We're also sell quick, ship quick there. And we're just curious to see how you run your return policies too.
Yeah. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed our babble on returns and the highs and lows and ins and outs of reselling.
Oh, and one more thing too. If you do call eBay or you're dealing with any customer service about your return, be nice. Because a lot of times they get a lot of negative energy, a lot of angry people that are calling, and they're not happy to deal with that. If you come in and you answer and you take care of the situation calmly and nice, they're probably going to be a little bit more lenient to help you too.
Yeah, Hugo makes all our calls.
I just grab my cup of coffee and make a call.
I just listen from the background. You tell them.
You tell them. No such and such. I don't know why it sounds like an old person.
All right, well, hope you are all having a wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful month whenever you watch this. We have 2 days left to the end of the year, and I hope you're all enjoying the last 2 days of 2019. Or wait, last day of 2019, because by the time you see this, there will be like 1 day left.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop.